Okay, so now you have gotten your bankruptcy discharged and you are making sure that you rebuild your credit. And if you don't know how to rebuild your credit after your bankruptcy, I will go ahead and put the link to that video that I did a few years back down in the description box. Also, I'll link it up here in the top. So you've done all that. Bankruptcy is discharged, your credit, you're rebuilding your credit. Now you're trying to figure out how the heck am I going to budget after I have gotten my bankruptcy discharged. So I'm going to give you 8 different ways that you can start budgeting yourself or putting yourself on a budget for and getting yourself back on track after bankruptcy. So the first way is to make sure you keep track of all income coming in. So where is your income coming from? How are you getting it? And how much is it? And then when it comes in. So you can track that easily by getting a piece of paper or putting it in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, or I have a tracker. I can link that in the description box as well. And you can just make sure that you keep track of all income coming in. That's not only from your job or from your business, but also if you get child support, if you get spousal support, if you have a side hustle, income is coming in, Social Security, whatever money comes into your household, you need to keep track of that.
Dum, da-dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum, da-dum, dum, 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 dum.
Hi, I'm Chantrell, and thanks for joining me at the Financial Spotlight. I'm here to give you financial tips and tricks that are going to help you on your road to know your money better. Next, you need to calculate all of your expenses. So expenses are not just the things that you pay every single month, the same amount. So fixed expenses. They're also variable expenses, things that change every month, and also the extra expenses. Say you don't get your hair done every single month. That's an extra expense that changes every single month. But a fixed expense would be your mortgage or rent payment. That's the same every month. Your car payment, that's usually the same every month. Those are your fixed expenses. Your variable expenses would be things like gas. Gas prices change. Gas goes up and goes down. You might have your credit cards changing, or your credit card statements changing. That might change every single month. That might go up and down. Those are variable expenses. And then the other expenses that might not be every single month and then also would change every month would be, like I said, your hair, your nails, your clothes purchases. If you decide to go out on a date, or if you decide to buy extra groceries or not buy as many groceries, those things will change every single month. You need to keep track of that, write that down, figure out how much your expenses are as compared to your income, and then you need to figure out how much wiggle room you have every month. What money do you have to work with to pay down debt, to save, etc. The third thing you need to do is decide on your priorities. Do not base your priorities on what I say, what your neighbor says, what your family says, other people, what they think is a priority. No, you need to base your priorities on you and your family. So if a priority for you is that you send your child to camp every single summer, then make sure that you save for that. Make sure that you budget for that. If your priority is like mine, where I decided, you know what, I'm going to get a massage every single month, at least twice a month. Well, I decided, okay, then however much those massages are, those 2 times a month, I'm going to make sure that I save that out of my money and budget it in, because that is a priority to me. So whatever your priorities are, you need to make sure that you budget them in and that you're able to afford them. Now, the fourth thing that you should do is set your goals and your limits. And you need to have various goals. So you don't just need to have a goal for this month or next year. Make sure you set short-term goals and long-term goals. I talk about that a lot in a video I'll link in the description box. But again, you need to set short-term goals. Those things might be within the next 6 months. You want to go on a trip, or 5-year goals, long-term goals. In the next 5 years, you might want to purchase a home. Set those goals and start planning and budgeting for those goals, etc. It depends on what your credit score is when you are going to purchase a home, when you're going to try to get a loan for your business. Sometimes even when you're trying to get a job, they want to know, what does your credit look like? So in order to get you started, I have a credit checklist which you can download today. I'll put the link in the description box. And what you can do is use this credit checklist to make sure that every credit bureau has the correct information for you on your credit report. So that's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and then download that credit checklist to help you review those credit reports. Now, number 5 might be self-explanatory, but I'm still going to explain it. You need to make adjustments to your budget. Now, what I mean by adjustments are, sometimes you don't always need to decide, okay, this is how much I'm going to spend on groceries this month. So that's something that a lot of people are like, I have to spend $500 on groceries. You really don't have to spend $500 a month on groceries. You can try to spend less. Some months you might need to spend more, but you need to be able to adjust to those changes and not get upset about the adjustment. And also, when you're making the adjustment, look at what you're not spending and say, okay, let me save this amount that I'm not spending and put it on something else. Whatever that something else is, that is your decision. Why? Because you are setting your goals. You are making your plan. You are making your budget, and you're setting up how you want your money to go and where you want it to go. So you really need to sit down. If you're doing this by yourself, or if you're doing this with a spouse or family, whatever, you need to sit down and really take a look at what it is that you're going to make changes to, what you're going to prioritize, what your goals are, how much you can afford, what's your income, what's your expenses. All of those things work hand in hand, because if you don't have a hand on all of these things, then you'll all of a sudden get back into where you are falling into debt again. And you don't want to do that again. You don't want to go back on bankruptcy and go back and have to file another bankruptcy. You don't want to do that. You want to live debt free. And in order to live debt free, you have to manage your money. You got to get a hold of it. You got to get control of it. It's so important to have control of your money and understand it and know what's going on with it. And the way you're going to do that is by really having a conversation with yourself and with your spouse or with your significant other or whoever it is, and say, hey, these are the things that we need to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Now, this 6th one might be hard for some people, because I know a lot of us get our paychecks direct deposited into our checking account, and we tend to use our cards a lot to spend, and we're like, oh, swipe the card, use the tap, use the, you know what they have. They have the apps, they have the tap, they have all the different things that you can use electronically to pay for things and to pay your bills, etc. Sometimes places don't even take cash. That is where you're going to have to say, okay, maybe I need to have one of those prepaid cards where I just put my money on there, a specific amount, and I use that as I need. Or maybe you just have a certain amount on your debit card that is available for you to spend at places like that. Like, for example, like some of the stadiums where you go to games or whatever have you, they're cashless. They're not taking your cash. So you're going to have a card when you go in there. So you might have to have a certain amount. They have to have prepaid cards out there. You have debit cards that you can use where you can just have a certain amount on there. Even if it's your bank card, you can make sure to say, okay, I only want to put out of my savings, I'm only going to put $100 on my debit card, and that's all I can spend. I'm not going over. I don't want that overage fee, the overage overdraft fee that they charge you and they say, oh, we'll pay your bill for you. You don't want that. You want to turn that off when you go into the bank, and then set up your debit cards where you only are using them a small amount of time. And then you want to try to use cash as much as possible. I know sometimes it's hard. I know that cash sometimes costs money to get your cash out of your bank, but just try to switch over to cash and use one of the budget binders that I have available, or you can use the envelope system. I've taught that on some of my budget binder videos as well. There's many different ways that you can do it, but it's also important that you learn, like I said, to manage your money so that you're not overspending. Now we are on number 7. That was super fast, wasn't it? Number 7 is for you to start saving. Saving is very important right now, especially so that you are not in debt or that you don't start going into debt. You want to have a savings, and you don't want to just have a regular savings in your regular savings account in your bank. Please know you also need to have a savings like an IRA. So it's important that you have a certificate of deposit, an IRA account, or some type of high yield interest savings account. Please do not just leave your money in your bank where it's not gaining interest. You need to be gaining interest every single month, every time you put money in there. And that's going to be the best way for you to save. If it's hard for you to save yourself, then set up, if you're an employee, or even if you're not an employee, even if you're self-employed, set up a 401k where it's automatically coming out of your paycheck into your 401k account, or you can have it automatically go into an account out of your money that you cannot touch. It's so very important that you are saving. And now we are at tip number 8, which is monitor your credit. I've said this before, when you're trying to rebuild your credit after your bankruptcy, and also just getting your money in order after your bankruptcy, you want to make sure that you're monitoring your credit. You want to pull your credit reports at least every 6 months. There are some programs out there that'll let you see your credit report every month, but you don't want to have those hits on there where it says that that someone's looking at your credit report. So you might want to just pull it every 6 months. Look at it, take a look at it, see if it's correct, see if everything is copacetic on there. You want to make sure nobody is charging anything or open up any accounts in your name. And then you also want to make sure that the creditors are reporting your information as correctly. So you want to make sure that your bankruptcy has taken everything off that it was supposed to. And then you also want to make sure that if you're setting up new credit cards or anything like that, that they are reporting correctly to all of the credit bureaus. That is Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So you want to make sure that they're reporting to those credit bureaus correctly, just to make sure that you are on the right track. So I hope that this information has helped you. Make sure that you subscribe to the Financial Spotlight. We'd love to have you as part of the family. And if you have any questions or concerns, or even if you have a video idea, make sure that you leave that in the comment section. I read all comments, I respond, and sometimes I make videos in reference to what's in the comment section if I can. And I try to get to them as soon as possible. So make sure that you leave any comments in the comment section, and I would love for you to join the Spotlight family. We'd love to have you. Thanks for joining me. Have a good one. Bye. Hey, have you had a chance to join the family yet? If not, go ahead and click the subscribe button and join the family today. And also turn on those notifications so that you can know exactly when we're going to post here on the Financial Spotlight channel. All those juicy financial tips and tricks for you. We'd love to have you.